My name is Suen and I'm from the MPA Comms team. Today I'll be reading you a story entitled Turtle Haven at the Raffles Lighthouse, written by Chia Yin Mi and illustrated by Biddy. Uncle Lee was one of the 2 lighthouse keepers on Pulau Satumu. There, he made sure that the light from the Raffles Lighthouse never went out. He also took care of the island and its surroundings. One night, he was on patrol when he noticed something unusual. What was that on the beach? Moving towards the sandy beach, Uncle Lee pointed his torchlight at the sand. The beam picked up a large brown object, moving slowly. He could hear the faint sound of something slapping the sand. It's a turtle! Uncle Lee quickly turned off his torchlight with trembling fingers. This was amazing! Turtles had not been seen on the island for a long time. He noticed a hole in the sand behind the turtle. Immediately, he pulled out his phone and called his fellow lighthouse keeper, Arun. Arun arrived, gasping in excitement. Shh, Uncle Lee whispered. Carefully, Arun shone his torchlight over the sand. The turtle was moving away while using its rear flippers to sweep sand over the hole. Quickly, the men shone the torch into the hole. Eggs, Arun whispered excitedly as they caught a glimpse of the ping-pong-like eggs in the hole. He quickly took a few photos with his phone. Turn the torchlight off, Arun, and don't make a sound, Uncle Lee told Arun. The turtle continued to use its flippers to scatter sand all around. Soon, the eggs were completely covered with sand. It's moving back to the sea, Arun whispered. As the turtle lumbered towards the water's edge, the 2 men carefully took some pictures without their flashes. We have to inform the authorities, Uncle Lee said softly as they watched the turtle slip and disappear into the sea. All that was left on the sand were marks from the turtle's flippers. The next day, the 2 men headed to the beach to check on the nest. Hey, Mr. Monitor Lizard is out early, Arun said, pointing at a motionless lizard on the beach. It was staring at something on the sand. Oh no, the eggs! We must protect him from the lizard and the other predators, Uncle Lee replied. Arun dashed off to the lighthouse. He returned with some tools and some plastic mesh. Using the plastic mesh, they built a fence around the nest. Now that monitor lizard cannot get at the eggs, said Arun. Later that afternoon, a boat arrived. Some staff from the Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore, or MPA, and 2 members from the National Parks, Sports, or NParks National Biodiversity Centre were on board. They examined the nest carefully. Good job with this fencing. From now on, we must watch the eggs vigilantly, declared one of the NParks staff. We mustn't disturb the nest at all, another staff cautioned. For how long? Uncle Lee asked. About 60 days. We must keep the predators away and keep the eggs safe, the staff said. Uncle Lee and Arun exchanged glances. They knew they had an important responsibility to protect the nest. They could also expect more visitors in the days to come. From then on, Uncle Lee and Arun kept a close eye on the nest of eggs, visiting it a few times a day amidst their other duties. Everyone was waiting anxiously for the eggs to hatch, so more visitors frequented the island. The event also caused a sensation on the mainland. The turtle eggs are proof that the critically endangered species return every year to the island. This is evidence that Singapore has a marine environment rich in biodiversity. These turtles return to the area where they were hatched. They can live for up to 50 years. This means they have been in the waters here for a very long time. A few days later, late one night, a storm broke out over the island. Oh no, the eggs! Getting into their rain gear and grabbing their torches, the men rushed down to the beach. True enough, the wind had dislodged the fence. Would the wind blow away the sand and expose the eggs? Would the eggs be soaked by the rain? Frantically, the 2 lighthouse keepers struggled against the wind to remove the stray debris and repair the fence. Gusty winds whipped up the waves as they crashed onto the shore with deafening roars. The men pushed on in the piercing rain, and finally the fence was standing again. The winds eventually calmed down. Still, the two lighthouse keepers stood watch in the pouring rain for other possible dangers. After an exhausting 2 hours, drenched and soaked to the skin, the men returned to the lighthouse. The eggs were safe. About 60 days later, the island was a hubbub of excitement. Late one moonlit evening, staff on duty noticed changes in the nest. There's activity in the nest. The eggs are about to hatch. We have to get ready. Take down the fence. Uncle Lee and Arun were kept busy supervising the arrival of more new visitors to witness the event. Late that night, a tiny hatchling burrowed through the sand. Immediately, everyone got into action. Don't distract the hatchlings. Turn your lights off. Clear the debris on the beach. Don't go too close. Shh. Before long, more tiny hatchlings struggled out from the sand. One of the men, examining the hatchlings, whispered excitedly, "It's a hawksbill hatchling. Look at that beak." Another staff took measurements of the hatchlings. Yet another started counting the hatchlings as they tumbled from the nest. "How do they know where to go?" Arun whispered. One of the staff responded, "See the moonlight bouncing off the waves? Hatchlings follow that bright horizon over the ocean, and that's why we must make sure all the torchlights are turned off." Arun nodded. Meanwhile, the heart-shaped hatchlings flopped around in the sand and then scurried clumsily along the sand towards the water's edge. Soon, the first few hatchlings reached the water's edge. As the waters rolled in, they picked up the hatchlings and swept them into the sea, where they disappeared into the water. Everyone cheered and clapped as each bale of hatchlings disappeared into the waves. The next morning, the tired lighthouse keepers went back to their routines. Their work had to go on as ships sailing nearby rely on the lighthouse for guidance. The staff, however, continued their vigil to ensure that all the hatchlings made a safe journey to the sea. In the end, the staff counted 44 hatchlings in all. The lighthouse keepers' work with the turtles did not go unnoticed. Staff from the MPA and NParks came by several days after the event to thank them. "Thank you, Uncle Lee and Arun, for your help." "Oh, it's nothing," said Uncle Lee modestly. "That's not true. The Hawksbill turtles are critically endangered. Good thing they found Pulau Satumu. Now, we can be sure of more turtles in future. They are very important to our marine biodiversity." You are not just lighthouse keepers, you are also keepers of the environment and keepers of the marine life in the waters around here. The two lighthouse keepers beamed with pride. Hooray for the guardians of Singapore's marine life!